Hello everyone, in this video we will be solving problem number 959, regions cut by slashes. In the problem, we'll be given a grid of n by n size and it is composed of 1 by 1 squares where each 1 by 1 represents a forward slash, a backslash or a backspace. These characters divide the square into contiguous regions. We need to find out how many regions are there after placing those characters in the grid. If you look at example number 1, the input contains two slashes which is dividing the square in two regions. But in example number 3, we have been given 4 forward and back slashes which divides the entire square in 5 regions. Understanding the concept or the logic of how to solve it is difficult, but once you get a hang of it, the actual solution is very simple. Now let's switch to our scratchpad and start discussing the potential solution. Let's start by understanding all the possible inputs that we can get, which are a forward slash, a backslash, or a space. To be able to scan the forward slash or the backslash, we should be able to place it or convert it into a data structure. So let's think about if we can move it into an array. So if I create an array of 2 by 2, so 0, 0, 0, 0 by default values, if I were to place this forward slash into this array, my array would look something like 0, 1, 1, 0. Similarly, if I were to do the same for the backslash, it would look something like this. Just for our example's sake, let me take a simpler one where I only have two forward slashes, where this is the first one and this is the second one. And if I were to convert this into a grid with arrays and using the logic that we just made up, this is zeros, so everything will be 0. This is a forward slash, so 0, 1, 1, 0. This is again a forward slash, so 0, 1, 1, 0, and then 0, 0, 0, 0. This is the representation of this input in an array format. And now if I start scanning through all of the zeros, I will be able to calculate the number of regions that were created in this input. So starting from this character, I will scan to the right, I'll scan to the bottom, then left. I was able to identify this region with all zeros. And then if I continue the iteration and exclude all the ones, I will end up at this point and then scan all of these, which again make the second region. So my output will be 2. There is one problem with this 2 by 2 approach, which is there is a possible edge case where there could be zeros in the diagonal positions. So that makes our logic a bit complicated. So instead of going by 2 by 2, we can go by 3 by 3, which will make it much more simpler. So if the forward slash was converted into a 3 by 3, it would be 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, and 1, 0, 0. And same for backslash, it would be 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. The logic stays the same, but with this approach, our scanning or traversing becomes much more simpler. All we need to do is scan either to the right, to the bottom, to the left, or to the top. And as we complete the iteration, we'll identify all of the possible regions created. So if we were to convert this into its corresponding array, it would look something like this. This is its corresponding array, and we start the scan from the first character in the array and then go in all the 4 directions, which will give us the first region starting from covering these all areas. We will intentionally ignore all of the ones, and as we are iterating, we will mark all of the zeros into ones, which will help us avoid traversing to the same character multiple times. The time complexity for this problem is O of n square, where n is the size of the grid, and the space complexity is O of n square as well, as we are maintaining this entire array. I hope you were able to understand this approach. Let me show you how we can solve it using C#. Here is the solution in C#. I start by initializing a lookup array of the length grid.length into 3 because we are creating 3 by 3 arrays. Then I start the first for loop to iterate through all of the rows and the next one to iterate through all of the columns. And whenever I identify if the character in the given input is a backslash, or I'm adding its corresponding conversion of the two-dimensional array into the lookup array. And if I encounter a forward slash, I'm doing the same, but the structure is different. And if there is an empty space, I'm doing nothing because my original lookup array is already initialized with zeros in it. Once this first two for loops are complete, I will have the input converted in its corresponding two-dimensional array with zeros and ones. I then start another for loop, iterating through columns and rows and columns, and do a check if its corresponding value is 0. If it is 0, which means that we have not yet traversed through that region or to that section, so I call this helper method, which does the depth first search for me. It is recursively calling itself and moving in 4 different directions. So right, bottom, left, and top. And whenever it identifies if its corresponding value is 0, it will convert it into 1 on line 53 and continue the traversing. After the traversing is complete, it will jump out of this helper method and then move forward with the next value in the for loop. After the entire for loop is complete, I will have the number of regions in this return value variable, which is being returned on line 46. I hope you were able to understand this solution and the approach. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. This solution is available on my GitHub repository. Link should be there in the description. Feel free to play around with it, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.